Welcome to TWIG, your weekly geekly family-friendly news show that tackles everything from Elder Scrolls shadow dropping to AI in my Ace Attorney, with some games in between. I am Nerd Pastor Nate. I'm really the pastor of Checkpoint Church, a church designed with nerds, geeks, and gamers in mind on the internet. If you are listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review. Click that like if you're over on YouTube. Come and listen live on Twitch and YouTube every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Folks, as always, we're going to be starting this one with our What You've Been Watching, Playing, and Reading, and I'm going to let my special guest of the night introduce themselves and tell us what they've been watching, playing, and reading.
Hey everybody, it's Sneaky, back after a long hiatus. For those of you who don't know, I'll catch up on the quick version. So I was a teacher for a really long time, and then I jumped out of teaching and I got into IT. And my current job does a really awesome program where they'll reimburse you like 90% back if you go back to school. And I thought to myself, why not? So I ended up going back to school and getting a bachelor's in IT. And so it is finally over as of a couple weeks ago. It is all done and over. So I was very excited to see that this time slot opened up, and I was like, we're going to make it happen. So I'm thrilled to be back on TWIG. So, what am I watching? Okay, so I have so much catching up to do. I have been watching next to nothing and playing next to nothing since school started. So I've been rewatching Andor season 1. So that way I can jump in probably about the halfway mark is my goal, to jump into Andor season 2, so that way I can keep watching as they release. But the one show I did keep up on was Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time just finished season 3 last week. And I am one of those that definitely looked at season 1 and went, huh? Because I've read the books. Thoroughly enjoyed the books and did not know what to think of the show. And so had a friend talk me into it. They're like, just keep going. And so I did. And I will say, very rarely do you come across a show that actually gets better by each season. And the show this season has finally hit the sweet spot. The characters are owning their roles. You can see that they've grown into them. They're embracing them. The show has definitely listened to criticism. And instead of being like, no, you're wrong, they've actually taken a lot of that criticism to heart with the show. And so they've changed up some things, and it's been really good. I will say this season has probably 2 episodes that are some of the best television I have watched in a while. And overall, this show went from being bottom of the barrel to me to up near probably in my top 10 of shows. So if they keep going the way they're going, the show should actually be pretty phenomenal. All right, playing again, trying to catch up on stuff. A couple of games that I missed that I really want to dive into was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was very hesitant about this because I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but overall, the reviews were like, it's good. It's not fantastic. It does what it needs to do, and it's good. Happy to say yes, that's about accurate.
Yep.
I probably a couple hours into the game. But playing Indy is such a joy as someone who literally got into history because of Indiana Jones. So absolutely been fun with that. The other game I really wanted to play was South of Midnight. I know this one came up at one of the award shows. I think we were all watching together with Checkpoint Group. And I just remember the art style being just phenomenal. And so I dove into that game. I probably got about 4 chapters in, which didn't take very long. It's a pretty fast moving game. Beautiful game. Just beautiful top to bottom in terms story so far has been pretty solid. Gameplay though is a very interesting hodgepodge of stuff you've already played. If probably I would say Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn, that series, you can definitely tell there's a lot of emphasis from that. So that's some very interesting things. But overall, I'm going to say it's decent. I haven't played the whole entire thing yet, but like it's not grabbing me like I really hoped it would. So kind of bummed about that, but have jumped on the Blueprints bandwagon and having a ton of fun trying to get through that game. I have joined also the ranks of like Humar Whithill and a couple other people who have made Google Docs of all their notes. So jumped into that, been enjoying that. And then, as you mentioned, Oblivion Shadow dropped, and I played about 3-4 hours of that the other night, and oh my goodness, the nostalgia trip I went on. But this game, top to bottom, and I'm going to argue this later when we actually talk about it. I don't think you can call this a remaster. What they have done with it is wow. But I'll save that for later to gush all over that game. But yeah, it's fantastic jumping back into that world.
Very nice. And then what you been reading?
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about reading. So many books to catch up on too. So we talked about this a little bit in our Discord. So we talked about Dungeon Crawler Carl, which never heard of this series before. Picked it up as I was flipping through some books on Kindle Unlimited and was like, this looks interesting. And oh my goodness, like new favorite book series. If you play WoW, if you play any type of dungeon crawler, RPG, loot shooter, like this book is for you. The guy who wrote it, fantastic. Probably one of the, and this is all I'm going to tell you is Princess Donut might be one of the greatest characters ever written. Absolute blast. The other series I'm going to work my way through for a little while now is The Expanse. I read like the first 3-4 books, and then my brother last year for my birthday got me the rest of them. And so now that school is over, I really want to just knock all those out and find the end of the story. But a book I read recently that really, no pun intended, jumped out at me was a book called Leap. And I haven't read the other ones. I read the first one. But basically, the basic premise of the book is what would the world be like if teleportation was actually real? And it kind of snowballs into a lot of stuff we're kind of seeing today with AI and some different things of here's this brand new technology and here's how companies are trying to take advantage of it. And some really, really fascinating things ensue. Like they create some laws surrounding it about what you can and can't do with it. And it was suggested by somebody on Book Talk, and it was kind of like one of those random, like they had a huge stack and they were kind of going through the list. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And I was completely captivated. So Leap by O.C. Heaton, I believe is the author. But yeah, I'll be digging into the rest of that series as well. But I wanted to give that one a shout out because, again, it's been a while since I've had a book that really kind of like challenges my thinking about technology.
Nice. Yeah, I looked up because I was curious. I remember The Expanse was going to get a Telltale series, but I couldn't remember ever it happened because I think it was during the like Telltale crash and then buyout, and it was all that mess anyway. And so I was like, did that ever do? And it didn't look like it did very well. So
no, it didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. It had a show, right? And it had a game, and it's had the series, so it's had a lot of chances. But it sounds like nothing's ever lived up to the hype of the book.
I mean, the show, not at all. The show was done really well. There's probably one episode in season 6 that again is probably just top tier television. Probably just one of those episodes that you sit through and you're just like, wow. But the rest of it did what it needed to do. It told the story, and so I did quit watching, I think, up to season 6. That either was the last season or there was one more where they were allowed to kind of like wrap things up. But I kind of stopped because I didn't want to see the end of it. Right. But overall, though, the show is decent.
Good to know. Good to know. I have been watching not too much. Been kind of playing more than anything, especially with Blueprints, which was a good podcast listening game, but not necessarily a good like watching game because you had to pay just enough attention that you could just listen to something in the background. So I have been trying to catch up on spring anime, and I only highlighted 2 of the ones here that I've been watching. Windbreaker, which is just a terrible name for an anime, but alas, a fantastic first season of a show. Some of the best anime action out there, an absolute delight. And season 2 is back and bringing it already. If you are a fan of Tokyo Revengers like I am, this is very much in that same vein. And I recommend it wholeheartedly to anyone that just loves some good action. And then a sleeper that will almost certainly be getting a nerdy sermon is called To Be Hero X. The cold open to this one is that superheroes are kind of like ranked in this society. They're celebrities. All the attention gets like thrown on them, and you like start with our main character who is like a marketer and knows how to market superheroes. And he goes on the rooftop for like a smoke break just to take a break from his stressful marketing job. One of the superheroes walks next to him off of the roof of the building. You assume he's going to fly away. He falls to the ground. And that's the cold open, is like the superhero has made this choice. Why? And turns out that our marketer happens to be a dead ringer. And so they use him as a copycat for this superhero that is no longer with us. Why did that happen? Why was it right next to this guy who happens to be a dead ringer? What's going to happen from this point on? What's going on with superheroes? Why are they so miserable? Really good. And the action, holy cow, whenever they move. So it's like in this weird, like cell shaded art style, but whenever they go into the action sequences, the art style completely changes to something else. Each episode has been something different. And it is like the budget goes out the wazoo for those action sequences. It's the best action I've maybe ever seen in an anime. So if you're into superheroes, if you're into subverted expectations, such as a superhero choosing not to fly and instead walking off the side of a building, or if you're into just awesome action, it's fantastic. And I can't wait to watch more. Every time I hear that there's a new episode dropping, I tune in right away.
I just Googled this and I'm looking at some of the images from it. Wow. You're not joking.
Yeah. It's really, really good. Like it is so far my favorite anime of the season. We'll see if it lives up to the hype. It actually reminds me a lot of fans of Arcane. If you were a fan of Arcane, like very similar vibes, art style, presentation, characterization, like very, very much in that vein. As far as playing, I got to room 46 in Blueprints, and I'm not sure if I'm going to chase the other mysteries or not. I want to desperately. The show was To Be Hero X. And I really want to explore every nook and cranny of Blueprints, but I simply don't have the time. Jason Schreier played like 120 hours, and I don't have that.
Oh, wow.
I don't have that. I can't play Blueprints for that long. I could, but I can't. It's very, very good. I really enjoyed getting to room 46. I really enjoyed the experience of rolling credits, and hopefully someday I'll get to go back and actually explore all the rest, or maybe I'll go watch a Let's Player. We'll see. So I rolled credits on that. I also rolled credits on Lost Record Part 2. So that was Bloom and Rage. It's the one from the original Life is Strange crew. I'm a diehard Life is Strange fan, and I think that this doesn't quite live up to the hype for me. I would say it is on par with True Colors. I think that they're pretty neck and neck for me. Both, they're just good games, but they're not great games. And neither one of them kind of pushes the line in any real way. I will say, as far as the like motif in Lost Record of taking pictures, it feels really good. And the characters that they're highlighting, I appreciate that like not everyone looks like a supermodel, and that this is like a really accurate representation of teenage girldom with like the acne and the scars from acne on their face. Like it's really well done. It's just the story didn't do it. It felt a little bit maybe a little too John Hughes for me by the end. It was just a little too basic, 80s, 90s kind of rom-com style. So alas, I also officially started, as of today, 100 Line Last Defense Academy, which is the latest game from TWIG Games, which is Kodaka and Uchikoshi's spinoff company from Spike Chunsoft. If you know any of those words, then you know I'm excited. If you don't know any of those words, it's from the Danganronpa and the Zero Escape people. And those are two of my favorite franchises of all time. And this game goes in that same vein, but kind of pokes fun at the fact that it's not going to be another death game, but it is going to have very similar tropes. And so far, I'm like 2 hours in, and I am already thinking about going back and playing it once this is done. And then I've been reading a bunch, got back into Jujutsu Kaisen to catch up with it because I just felt like it. Trying to get through the behemoth that is Will of the Many. I don't understand how y'all read it so fast. I cannot. I am a reader. I am a reader. I read so many more books than anybody that I know, and I cannot keep up with the likes of Sneaky and T-Bone, who are like, I sat down and read 600 pages a day. And I'm like, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you got away with it, but you're wizards.
I couldn't put it down. That was the problem. Like there were several moments in the book where like I need to know what happens next. And then the next thing I know, 3 hours has gone by. And yeah, speaking of books that just have knocked my socks off, The Will of the Many. Oh my goodness. My brother had read it. He suggested it, and so that's why I was really excited when it came on our list to be read for book club. And I immediately jumped out of the chair when I finished the book and texted him. And we went on like a 1 hour just gushing over this book. But whoa, you need to get that in because I just need you to get to the end.
Yeah.
We need
I'm
to talk.
excited for it. I'm enjoying it so far. It's just a leisurely pace. I don't know why I'm not getting gripped enough to have to like burn through it. But yeah. And then I just ordered and got today the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, which is a pretty legendary book of this warrior who wrote this before he died, whenever he was living as a hermit in a cave. Cool. Like, why not? I'll give it a try. It feels very Art of War, like Sun Tzu style writing, and I have never read this one, so give it a shot. It was recommended to me on Book Talk as well, and I like Japanese things. I can't help myself. And so I will always take the opportunity to dive into something that also checks a 1001 book off my list. So there we go. We got some stuff going on in chat, but we're already like 30 minutes into the podcast here. But good stuff happening. Assassin's Creed Shadows, NBA 2K25, some good South of Midnight repping as well there. Lots of good stuff going on. Do let us know what you've been watching, playing, and reading. But we're going to get into our first news article of the night, which has to do with Ace Attorney, My Beloved. A recent study by How AI Lab used Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney to benchmark 4 AI models on memory, reasoning, visual understanding, and strategy. While none completed the game, OpenAI's O1 and Google Gemini reached the penultimate episode, with O1 showing the strongest legal reasoning. The experiment aimed to see if AI could analyze full case narratives and adapt to new evidence mid-trial. Masakazu Sugimori, a developer and composer for the game, reacted with amusement and noted the irony that AIs struggled with the deliberately simple first episode, which was designed to be an accessible but satisfying one for human players. A reminder of the unique strength in human deduction. Fascinating article for me. I really thought for a second whenever I saw this article pending that they had made a game, like it made an Ace Attorney game with AI, but to learn that instead they were playing it, I don't know. It's kind of charming. As somebody,
it's fun.
Yeah, like there's so many people have made AI play Pokemon, but playing Ace Attorney is a bit of a different flavor.
Yeah, it is fun. But, you know, and just because I had to go down the rabbit hole when I was thinking about this, I was kind of like, man, I wonder, like, is this a testing ground for, like, are they thinking about having AI review, like, real court cases at some point?
Right.
And so you have this game and you just want to see how it does with the video game. And, like, does it because obviously there's not a ton of, you know, I mean, it probably is. I don't know how much, really, to be honest, because okay, we'll get to this. I have never played an Ace Attorney game, so
they're fantastic,
rag
but they are very much visual novels, and they are very, very bad law. That is like well
that's
known.
What I'm curious, like, is there nuance enough that the AI could pick up that there's nuance, or is it nuance enough that like the AI can't pick up on the nuance?
Right. It is definitely intriguing. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. I don't know if they're ever going to release the process of like the Twitch plays Pokemon kind of process of the game. But yeah, it's Japanifornia rules. So None of it is real. The law is terrible. There is no jury. They are constantly breaking rules. You can see, I put, maybe you can see if you're watching the stream, the still that I have from Ace Attorney is a time where he prolongs the trial because of the fact that somebody says almost Christmas, which means it wasn't Christmas. And so he's able to use that during the court case to say, because it wasn't Christmas, XYZ, and he continues the story. They, in the first game, interview a parrot. So like there's simply no logic to Ace Attorney, and that's the joy of the thing. But I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this other than just, can we reason human deduction? I would be curious about like a Layton game, or to see them play Danganronpa, but I don't know how dark we want to get. Like, what do we want to teach the AI to see? Like, this is acceptable behavior. We can go on a killing game if it's for the right reasons. Oh no, yeah, hilarious.
I mean, we're already going to have robot overlords. We shouldn't be teaching them other things.
No, I don't want them to be mimicking Monokuma even in the slightest. So I'm curious. I really do hope that they do something with this and put it out there for folks to see, because I would be delighted. And I do like the irony. The very first case against Winston Payne is so easy, so unbearably easy, but it does have some weirdness to it with this statue that is also a clock. And so maybe it was just having trouble because it's recognizing a statue, and the statue never looks like a clock. It's the thinker pose, and it says, I think it is, whatever time of day. And yeah, hilarious. I love it so much. And I love Ace Attorney. And so seeing this being the way that Ace Attorney is used in regards to AI is a real delight. All right, let's get into our next one, dealing with Discord. This is kind of breaking news from yesterday. Discord has named Humam Sagnini in its new CEO position, effective April 28th, 2025, marking a leadership transition as co-founder Jason Citron steps into an advisory role. Formerly the vice chairman at Activision Blizzard, he is bringing over 15 years of industry experience, including leading King Digital Post acquisition. With more than 200 million monthly active users, Discord has recently renewed its focus on gaming, expanding into ads, microtransactions, and developer tools. Citron praised Sagnini's expertise and leadership as key to driving the platform's continued growth and deepening its role in the gaming community worldwide. Disconcerting news, and a follow-up to our recent article that we shared a few episodes ago, talking about the rumor mill that Discord might go public in the near future. This seems to be pretty clearly related to that. I can't imagine that rumor would come up and this wouldn't be the next step. And yeah, it is what it is. We are on Discord as Checkpoint, and so like there is a certain bit of loyalty that I have to this company, and some concern that I have over a church that I have built, the neighborhood being, gentrified, for lack of a better term. I mean, turned into an ads-based microtransaction situation. Like, it will be interesting to see what comes out of this and where the next steps are. My biggest concern was definitely the King part of it. So if you don't know King, that is, of course, like all of the iPhone games. Like it is the App Store king, literally. It is the people that are running over all of that stuff. And so this was a part of the big Blizzard Activision acquisition. Activision had owned King prior to that. And so it was just this really, really deep, bizarre scenario that happened. And yeah, it's worrying.
Yeah, I think my concern was hearing that it's somebody from Activision Blizzard, because we all know, I mean, and it's that fine line as we as gamers and those in nerd culture like have to balance. Like Activision Blizzard puts out some really good stuff. We play it, but it's also a very problematic company. And so anytime you hear somebody coming from that company, like, I don't know, something in me, like, just kind of clenches up, like, nah, please don't bring that over here. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes forward. And, and I think DB asked a regular question, like in our chat. He says, Discord's getting ads. Like, how is that going to work? Like, you're going to have to watch an ad if you sign in, like if you don't have Nitro or something like that. So I'll be very curious to see like how that's all going to play out. And yeah, if Discord takes that final step to go public, like how are they going to make all of this work together? It's going to be an interesting ride for them, and over the next year or so as they keep moving forward with this.
So technically speaking, they already do have ads.
Okay.
If you've ever been on I don't know how they work on mobile, but if you've ever been on desktop, in the bottom left, right above your profile, you have a little thing that pops up that's like, go and spend such and such coins in Valorant, and we'll give you this skin or whatever. And so like that is an ad, whether they disclose it as not. Like whenever you click why am I seeing this, it'll tell you this is an ad. This has been paid for by Valorant to get you to go download the game, or whatever. So that's already existed and has been a part of that. And then microtransactions has been something they've slowly but surely been adding anyway. Of course, you've got like you've got the way that you can pay for Nitro and all that kind of stuff. So they've been dipping their toes in the waters of how to monetize Discord for a while. My bigger concern will definitely be like the nature of a community platform and how you want to do that. Like I despise Slack and how they do it, where they just charge everybody. Like everybody's got to pay such and such amount of money to see past 90 days or whatever. And like that doesn't feel super punishing, but it's pretty punishing whenever you're in one of those spaces. So I don't know. Well, it'll be very interesting to see where it goes, how they maintain their stance as being for gamers. I would love to hear Jason Schreier write on this because of the fact that he wrote that book on Blizzard, Play Nice, which was a great exploration of the environment of the company. And so I don't remember hearing this name in that book. But maybe it was in there, or maybe Jason has some like extended notes somewhere that we could hear a little bit of like what the leadership style might have been over King and that kind of thing, because it focused more on Morheim, who, by the way, had a great week with Dreamhaven and all that kind of stuff and Sunderfolk and all that good stuff. But that is neither here nor there. Wanted to mention Discord just because of the fact that it is the place that we are, and this change is happening soon and very soon, 4 days from now. So hopefully things don't change too quick beyond that, such as something good that did change recently.
Yeah. All right, so ES40. So Bethesda officially unveiled Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, and it was available now across PC, Xbox X and S, PS5, and Game Pass Ultimate. So if you have Game Pass, good to go. For everything else, $49.99 unless you buy the extended the upper version. I think it's $59. Developed by Virtuous using Unreal Engine 5, this remaster updates the beloved 2006 RPG with 4K visuals, 60 frames per second, revamped character creation, enhanced combat, improved menus, new dialogue, and advanced lip syncing. Also, the sultry tones of Patrick Stewart at the very beginning of the game. It also includes all previous expansions and DLC. Bethesda emphasizes a deeper, more immersive experience as players return to Cyrodiil to face the Daedric threat, offering both a standard and deluxe edition with exclusive digital extras. So I got the notice that they were going to do their reveal trailer, and so I was watching it, and then when they announced that it was going to be like right then and there that they were going to release it, my jaw hit the floor because I was not expecting that at all. I thought for sure they were going to be like November, maybe next year. Right. And so I thought for sure it was not going to happen. When it did, I was floored by that. Yeah, I played Morrowind, I played Oblivion, I played Skyrim. I absolutely love these games. They are some of my bread and butter games that I can just do a deep dive and play over and over and over again. And it's just another excuse to play another stealth archer, because if you play Elder Scrolls, you know that the stealth archer rules all, and you can make your way through that. But yeah, the reason I said earlier that I would not call this a remaster, I would call this a remake. The fact that you went to all of that work, including adding new dialogue, redoing your lip syncing, and just bringing people back to do voice acting and all this stuff in it, like, and I don't kid you not, like when I fired that game up, I took a picture on my phone and sent it to a friend of mine, because like even just the intro screen is just gorgeous. And good golly, was stepping back into this world was amazing. And I will say, I think Oblivion has probably out of all the games the best soundtrack.
Hmm.
The music in this game is just, especially if you are someone who likes um, very like orchestral sounding soundtracks to listen to. Like if you're a big fan of like movie scores, things like that, but just like big sweeping orchestral sounds, like this soundtrack is right up your alley. Probably one of my favorites, but man, did they put a lot of work into this game, and you can see it. And very excited for a lot of people who have not played this game to get their chance to play it and enjoy this world, because I don't know if I would go out and say that it's better than Skyrim, but definitely on par with Skyrim. So if you enjoyed Skyrim, you'll definitely enjoy Oblivion.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that exact sentiment, that this one is either their favorite, even if they won't say it's like better, they say this is like the one that they prefer. And I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it. So some people may know my story, that I did not have an Xbox growing up. Like, I had no relationship with a lot of Xbox games. Very much a Nintendo fanboy through and through, and even then, like a handheld Nintendo fanboy. And so the first time that I even got a 360 was when I was in college, and like did not get to play any of the games. So even though Todd Howard released Skyrim on like, you know, the fridge by the time that I was an adult, I have yet to ever play a single Elder Scroll. I have not read one scroll because I've never had the opportunity. Like, they've never fallen in my lap. I've never had the drive. It's kind of along the lines of like Witcher. Like, I've always wanted to play Witcher 3, and they're just always on the eternal backlog of games. And I will definitely be putting this one up the order. I definitely think that, considering that it's on Game Pass, does incentivize me, but I'm pretty sure so is Skyrim, so I don't think that's too much of an excuse for me. I want to play it. It looks interesting. It does look gorgeous, and I think it works pretty well on Steam Deck from what I'm understanding. And so I'm curious. I'm on board. I really enjoyed the Skyrim clone game that I played earlier this year. The name is escaping me, because all I can think of is Atomfall right now, which was the Fallout clone. But there was another one that came out earlier this year that I super enjoyed as well. And so I'm down. Like, I'm down for this, but I've got to be in the right headspace for what I know will be a lengthy Western RPG experience.
Yeah, and that's like, that's my struggle, because like trying to make it through my backlog of games and playing things that are currently out. Yeah, like run into that. Like, I just don't need, and I know we've mentioned this before a while ago, like, I don't need another 80 to 90 hour game, people. Like, I need a good like 20 to 30 hours. Like, get me in, give me a good story, get me out. If I love your game, I will come back. But I don't mind having a world like Oblivion where it's like you can jump in and out of this game with no issues whatsoever. Like, it's not, you're not going to lose anything. Yeah, Weison's like, because I mentioned in the chat, I was like, Assassin's Creed Shadows is another one of those games where I want to play it. But yeah, that is a hefty time consuming game.
Mm-hmm. There were like 4 games that came out today that I want to play. Like, it's a matter of, this year is pretty stacked. And from like my perspective, it is pretty stacked with GOTY contenders. I'm really intrigued to see where we land with the Game Awards this year, because from what I understand, the game I'm alluding to, which is the Claire Obscure game, Expedition 33, that dropped today, like, is doing real well. And like, I think that Blueprints did real well. And like, there's all these sleeper hit games that could be GOTY contenders. And then there's the like, the 2-player, the co-op game that everybody.
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction.
I'm not calling Split Fiction my GOTY, but it has to be a GOTY. I mean, it was fantastic.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We got too many games.
Yeah.
Too many games.
Yeah, my son and I played it, and it is not often where he's actually begging me to come play. Like, he was like, "Dad, can we go finish this? Can we go finish this?" And I mean, there's one particular moment in the game, and I don't want to spoil it because like in case people haven't played it yet. But there's one side story in the game that when you get to the end of it and you figure out what happens, like he and I had to pause the game. We were laughing so hard we couldn't breathe.
Mm.
And to have that moment with my kid was pretty awesome. Like, it's going to be one of those, like, up there, I'm not going to forget that moment kind of things. But yeah, that game, wow.
And it's so clear that's what Joseph Fares wants from it too. And so it's like he wants it to be that exact story of, I played this with my kid, I played this with my spouse, I played this with my XYZ, and I like formed these memories. Like, whether he wins GOTY or not, I think he will pat himself on the back just knowing that that is the impact he's had.
Yeah.
And I love it. Sure. The game I was thinking of was Avowed, by the way. Avowed,
oh yes, Avowed. Yep, on my list.
I super enjoyed. People knocked it. I thought it was a great time. I have nothing negative to say about it. So, too many games, too little time. I got to go play more of my not Danganronpa. That's what I'm focused on right now. But lots of good games and lots of exciting things. And with them doing a out of nowhere Elder Scrolls drop, pretty crazy. And I will say, like, there was a meme online that said that they accidentally mirrored it and that it was supposed to be Elder Scrolls 6. But then they were like, the intern shared Elder Scrolls 4. And so they were like, we'll just run with it. We have it built anyway. And so that's the joke is that Bethesda's been ready with Elder Scrolls 4 for quite a while. So, maybe that's true. Maybe there's more truth to that than we realize. But either way, I'm glad we got it and am thrilled to finally not have another edition of Skyrim and something else to play.
Right.
But with that, we're going to do a quick ad read. Folks, a quick announcement here, and this one is a biggie. Not this Sunday, but the next, May 4th. May the 4th be with you during our regular Mana and Mingle time, which is 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be throwing a party. Why? Because Checkpoint Church hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. 6 digits. We are going to be unboxing. It's right over there. I've had to look at it, stare at it for days. The silver play button. We're going to be unboxing it live, swapping stories about how we got there, soaking in the moment with our incredible community. If you've ever watched Nerdy Sermon, if you've dropped a message in chat, if you've shared a meme, if you've watched Twig, if you've been a part of anything that we've done here at Checkpoint, just lurked quietly, you have been a part of making this milestone happen. And we do not want to celebrate alone. We want to celebrate with you. Of course, we will end the first hour with communion together because this celebration isn't about numbers. It is about the body that we've built along the way. It's about the fact that a church has done this. So bring your favorite memory, a drink of choice, a slice of cake, and come and celebrate with us. Again, that is May 4th, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, Mana and Mingle, huge party for 100,000 subs.
Yeah, that's super awesome because I was just thinking about this because I don't know how long it's been since I've been on Twitch. But I'm pretty sure that this upcoming December will be 4 years that I'll have been hanging out with Checkpoint Church, and the time has flown by, and it's been awesome to see how this community has grown, how people have come together, and yes, this is an awesome moment that we all get to celebrate together. So please come hang out.
I love it, and I'm excited for it and looking forward to it. But without further ado, we're getting into our main segment for tonight, which is the reason maybe some of you clicked on this video off the title. We're going to be talking about some news that dropped this past week involving Stonemer Games. So this is going to be our main segment. So we'll do a weird little cutaway here at the beginning and a weird little cutaway at the end, but we're not actually ending the show at the end, I promise. So welcome to the Week in Geek, everyone. I am Nerd Pastor Nate, and with me today is my trusted co-host and level 2 member, Sneaky Pig. We're going to be talking about a real-world plot twist that sounds like something out of an economic strategy board game. One of my favorite board game publishers, Stonemer Games, the folks behind Wingspan and Scythe, is joining a lawsuit against the U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports. You did hear that right. The tabletop industry is rising up like an army of meeples to challenge a massive tariff that has shot up to an astounding 145% on goods from China. These tariffs are not an ordinary small tax. We're talking about charges so high that for every $10 a company spends manufacturing games in China, they would owe a $14.50 tariff tax. That's on top of that $10. It more than doubles the cost of making the games, essentially a 145% import tax. So Stonemeyer's co-founder, Jamie Stegmaier, crunched the numbers, and his St. Louis-based company with 8 employees is going to be facing nearly $1.5 million in upcoming tariff bills. For a small business, for any business, really, that is a pretty devastating hit. As kind of some background here, these tariffs are a part of an ongoing trade war with China. For those of you that are maybe not in the United States governmental system, under President Trump's first term, the U.S. started slapping tariffs on Chinese products to pressure China over trade practices like intellectual property theft. Started with rates like 10%, 25%. A lot of industries were taking a hurting from those, but it was manageable. But then with this second term, things have really escalated. In his return, he has done what some are calling a tariff tsunami, like I said, going to 145%. And to make it worse, there's no real phase in here. There's no warning. There's no time to prepare. There's no, this is happening in a year. Instead, it was just a sudden spike in change. And it also is a retroactive one, whereas products that have already been ordered but have yet to be shipped are still going to hit those huge unexpected fees. And so in a quote with CBS, Jamie Stegmaier puts it as, "The pricing explodes when you now charge us more to bring our product into the country than we actually even pay to produce it."
Yeah, this has some pretty big impacts on the industry. Probably one of the more notable ones is just complete closures. The majority of board game companies are very small. As we know, like Stonemaier only has 8 employees, and so a lot of these board game companies are actually very, very small businesses. So companies like Boardlandia shut down its online store completely. The owners, Tim and Carissa Fent, said they poured their savings and sweat into the company for years, trying to overcome various challenges. But these new tariffs have left an unsustainable burden and no viable path forward. With 145% tariff piling on top of the existing struggles, they had to close their online store for good. They'll ship out the remaining orders, but after that, it's game over for Boardlandia's online business. Some other things that have been happening are layoffs. Greater Than Games and Underdog Games have cut nearly all of their staff. Greater Than Games, which is the publisher behind the hit Spirit Island, was acquired by Flat River Group and recently laid off a vast majority of its staff. They even suspended new projects completely at Greater Than Games because the numbers just don't obviously work under the tariffs. Lots of delays and cancellations. Cephalofair, who has the company behind Gloomhaven, they can't actually even afford to ship their product to the United States, and millions of dollars of worth of product is just stuck in Chinese warehouses. So what they've done is essentially, so if you never played Gloomhaven, they have a follow-up one called Frosthaven. It's very much a dungeon crawler game. They're really great. But their chief operating officer, Price Johnson, has been very public about this. He has even stated that, he said, "Our operations are halted. Our U.S. sales are at a complete standstill because they can simply not afford to bring the products into the U.S. At the tariff rates." Cephalofair actually has around about 60,000 units of products. So this is worth over $1 million just sitting in warehouses in China. Because if they ever ship them to the US, the tariff costs would be absolutely it would completely ruin the company. So they've put so much work into Gloomhaven, a second edition, and now that is totally on hold as they're just waiting to see what happens at this point. If any of you have backed a Kickstarter recently, a board game Kickstarter, lots of projects at risk, lots of costs that are overrun. So that is expected to hit essentially us as well. If nothing changes, we're gonna, we as gamers are gonna face, fewer newer games. There's lots of exciting board games that are coming up. But some that are being published are going to be either delayed or canceled. Other projects we're going to face a higher price tag. So one industry insider lamented that there is no silver lining to this. It is a lose situation, as they said, for everyone involved. The creators of Wingspan, are in this, there's other board game companies that are behind this, lots of different publishers, retailers. A lot of people are essentially trying to do what they can to push back against this. So, I mean, it's kind of like, think of it this way. Go to your local gaming store. Like where I live here in Phoenix, we have lots of local gamer stores, and one of them is especially my favorite. I go there all the time to just even talk to the people who own it, and I haven't been there in a little while. So I'm almost curious now after we talk about this, like to go into the store and ask them, like, how is this going to hit you? Because I can't imagine walking into my local board game store and seeing empty shelves. Like that sounds so mind blowing to me because I mean that's what this store does is you walk in and it's just board games everywhere. So very curious to see what's going to happen with that. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, the impact that it's had on us, just as people that attend cons. I mean, we have a huge community at Checkpoint of folks that partner up with Love Thy Nerd, a fellow organization that sends people out to serve at Comic-Cons, gaming, board gaming conventions, all that kind of stuff. One that's here in North Carolina called Tantrum Con that happens every year that a lot of our folks go to. This is an innovative, this is a tight knit, this is a thoughtful, a creative, and a kickstarted, a grassroots community of people that make games. And so it's really disheartening to see a community so small. It's kind of the idiom of not my circus, not my monkeys. Like it is our circus, it is our monkeys, but we are not the ringleader and we cannot be. And that's very frustrating. And because of that, we get to the real bulk of the reason behind this conversation is that Jamie Segmeyer from Stonemer is fed up and he's not going to stand idly by as this happens. And so even though he does not describe himself as a litigious person, he has joined up with a rather large group of board gaming companies who are issuing a lawsuit challenging the presidential authority for these tariffs. And so they're working with Pacific Legal Foundation, aiming to bring the case to the Supreme Court. So far, it's over 100 companies who wanted to join in just 24 hours after Stonemer announced. So it is a collective voice of gamers fighting for something here. In a quote, he says, "I try to lead with compassion and empathy, so legal action is very low on my list of ways to handle difficult situations. But the tariffs, like I said, have pushed him and many others to the point where they feel they have to take a stand, not just for themselves, but for thousands of others in the industry." In his words, we are compelled to take action. And so essentially what they're going to be arguing is that one person, not even the president, should be able to have the power to unilaterally rewrite the rules of trade and slap crippling fees on businesses without some kind of oversight. The U.S. Constitution traditionally gives Congress the power over tariffs and trade, power of the purse, as it were. And over the years, Congress has delegated some of that power to the executive branches through laws, but there are limits. And the lawsuit says that Trump has blown past those limits, turning what was meant to be a targeted trade remedy into a personal sledgehammer. And so again, that focus is going to be over the actual power of the president to do this without any oversight or accountability as a kind of appeal to checks and balances via one of those checks and balances being the Supreme Court. In the midst of all this, there is some glimmer of hope because court battle proceedings can be very lengthy. They can take a long time to even get started. And so a lot of folks are just saying, how can we even survive in the midst of this time? But as a certain glimmer of hope, President Trump has said that some recent remarks that maybe the tariff onslaught won't last forever, has told reporters that he plans to be very nice to China and that the tariffs will drop substantially, but probably won't be zero. That hint reported just this week suggests that he knows this level of tariff is unsustainable and he might scale it back. However, the big problem with all of this is that there is no timetable, there is no specifics, and it feels like there is no plan. It's like hearing the game master say, I might change the rule back later, maybe. It's not exactly comforting when your business is bleeding cash right now. In fact, a friend of the show and Love Thy Nerd CEO Bubba Stallcup has been posting on his social accounts for the past couple of weeks that exact sentiment of the future onlook of what these tariffs might do, the future impact of these decisions, the optimistic views of how this might better impact the economy going forward does not change the harm being done right now. And that is our focus as a community that is focused on doing no harm and seeking on ways to end harm being done. And so this is the way that we're responding, but the community itself is responding and making recommendations of how to respond as well that Sneaky will share.
Yeah, and then real quick, just last week, Cardboard Edison did kind of like an ad hoc survey. They got about 60 different developers, gamers, companies talking about like what are they going to do in response to this. And a lot of it is we've already talked to, but probably overwhelmingly the biggest one was that the price is going to have to be passed down to the consumer. And it was either an increase in prices, laying off staff, doing kind of like what Stonemer did is like, we're just going to shelve everything and leave it in the warehouse for now until we figure things out. So I did link that article in our TWIG chat on Discord because it's just really interesting to see based on their little ad hoc survey here, like what people are kind of like expecting and what they're kind of like thinking about in future wise, how to handle all this as things keep going. But so what about responses? So Stonemeyer's approach is they are going to absorb as most of the tariff costs on new games as possible. They're going to offer voluntary tariff contribution at checkout, kind of like no pressure. They're going to hold inventory in China rather than shipping with higher tariffs. I've heard another workaround is that some companies are actually they're going to limit the stock that they're going to put out, but they're actually going to send it to other countries first that have lower tariffs and then ship it in that way. And so instead of sending it through China, try to like backdoor it into the US going a different route. I've heard some companies are going to look at like if instead of labeling their game as a board game, they're going to label it as a dice game. And by just tweaking the name of it actually changes how the tariff applies to it. So it'll be really interesting to see like how much we keep seeing, things like that. But other things that, community members could do, things like just hashtags, like simply just shouting out your favorite board game company, your favorite board games, just, getting people aware of how these tariffs are impacting these different things. Obviously, as gamers, be patient. I mean, I know this stinks, and especially like just thinking of all these people who have backed Kickstarters, especially for board games, and now going like, what do we do? And so, just being patient, I think, is a huge thing for us and a way to show grace towards those companies, towards those creators, and at the same time, encourage them. Shout out your favorite. Especially on social media, but shout out your favorite creators of board games and just let them know that like, hey, we're with you in this. We see what's going on. Like, is there anything we could do? Kind of a thing. But as we mentioned at the top of the show, like a lot of board game companies are smaller publishers. So probably like the majority of them. And so a lot of these smaller publishers are kind of taking this kind of like, safety in numbers kind of approach. And so they're banding together, they're rallying together. And so in an interesting move, you're seeing companies that would normally compete against each other are now coordinating together. And so this is going to be really kind of an interesting thing to see, like, how does that like play out after these tariffs come down? Like, will these companies continue to coordinate together? But they're trying. They're definitely pushing as best they can to do what they can.
Yes. And we are going to do our best that we can in our community as well. And so I'm going to encourage everyone, if you're a part of Checkpoint, if you are hoping for some kind of takeaway from this, then I think from our faith-forward, nerdy perspective, we talk about our 3 rules of doing good, doing no harm, and striving to grow. And so I think that in this story and the ramification of these things, we see those ideals being tested on a really grand scale. We have leaders who are making decisions. Like I said, we've got this not my circus, not my monkeys mentality, perhaps with the goal to help the American industry, but those decisions are causing harm, and they are causing it now. As people who care about justice and kindness, we have to call that out when and where we can. It's not right to sacrifice thousands of small businesses on the altar of a trade war. It's not right to treat people's livelihoods like pawns in a political game. The pursuit of happiness, a phrase from the Declaration of Independence that Jamie evokes in one of his quotes, includes being able to pursue your creative passion and earn an honest living from it, right? This is the land of opportunity. When this is threatened, standing up is justified. We should be supporting the human being behind the thing instead of the ideologies behind the thing. Our stance is also one of support for creators and entrepreneurs who are doing a brave, good thing by standing up against something harmful. And we want to advocate for a stance of grace. And by grace, I mean we aren't here to villainize either party, spew anger, even at those implementing the tariffs, and instead firmly opposing policy, seeking change without hatred or bitterness. In fact, that's a part of striving to grow, because whenever we give in to rage, or as T-Bone said not too long ago, quoting, only the Sith deal in absolutes, right? Once we start leaning into those kind of black and white mentalities, nobody learns, nobody heals. And I think that Jamie Stegmaier is very much ringing that chord. He is firm and clear with what he believes is wrong in this scenario, yet he's going to remain respectful, focused on the mission and not on personal or ad hoc or ad hominem attacks. And even said that he holds dear the customer's pursuit of happiness, which shows a heart for the people that are wanting to buy these things. And so we're going to hope and pray that the lawsuit succeeds in reining in any of the overreach, if indeed it is found unlawful, that all parties listen to whatever decision is made. And in the short term, that the administration will see reason, or at least hear from the outcry of geeks and governors alike, and roll back on the tariffs, which week in, week out seem to be going back and forth anyway. So at the very least, maybe some stabilization would be beneficial. And so if we think about it from our perspective of doing good, doing no harm, and striving to grow, we can do good by supporting, by loving and leaning on those folks, hearing their words and sharing our empathy and sympathy, our concerns and our cares with them whenever they reach out to us. I see a lot of that happening in my circles of game developers that are saying how much this hurts, and seeing people stand up at arms, even with just a kind word in their comment sections. Like I said, we can do no harm by rejecting, villainizing anybody and critiquing policies instead of people. And then we can strive to grow by engaging lawfully with grace and courage and community. This is a way to speak up. And as board games are about community and fairness and imagination, we as a community believe that those values are worth protecting. And this is, in fact, not the only thing that we believe is worth protecting. For those of you that don't know, Checkpoint Church is a part of a United Methodist Church system, and the UMC is also in a lawsuit over sanctuary and safe spaces, and how those are used as safe spaces for those who have immigrated to the U.S., regardless of their status, which now is no longer being protected. So we have a similar justice stance in regards to how we protect community and the people behind the things. And that's what we stand for, whether it's with games, or whether it is with people's lives, or whether it is with wherever they may find themselves at this point in time. We want to do good, we want to do no harm, we want to strive to grow together.
Absolutely. And I tend to be a fairly optimistic person. And so I try to, try to hope and pray and all those things that this will resolve itself quickly, and that things will get back. And I think it's just, it's a gut punch that there are people right now who have lost their jobs, who are, possibly going to get up, tomorrow or the Monday morning next week, and we'll find out they're going to lose their job. The reality that there are people like Boardlandia who have sunk every ounce of the fiber of their being and their money into creating something that they are super passionate about for other people, and then only to have to be like, we have to shut it down. Like we can't keep it going. It's impossible. So there is very real harm. There's very real hurt that is happening right now. And, but I'm hopeful that, things will either lessen and we'll see the tariffs come down, or we'll see board game companies transitioning to some decide to go more of a digital route, and kind of adapt to these changes, and how will they be able to keep doing what they want to do. But I think this is all good. And I definitely am a fan of seeing all the meeples rise up and hopefully push back and make their voices heard. And I mentioned it already, and I just want to reiterate it. I think one of the best things you can do right now is, if you're on social media, is any creator of anything that you were a fan of, but especially in this vein of board games and what we as nerds love, just start shouting from the rooftops. Like, celebrate them, encourage them. They notice, and it will mean a lot.
Yeah. If you're not sure where to start, I'll shout out again, Love Thy Nerd, being a community that focuses on tabletop games. And I know that they would have some places to point you if you're not sure where to get started with that effort. I can remember, in the video game world, we've had a similar stressful year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years at this point of layoffs and of purging of whatever's going on in the economics of the C-suite and of this world. This one feels more direct. This one feels more targeted, more involved from the government side of things. But I can remember the encouragement that we were offering and that we continue to offer to those in the gaming industry. And so we want to do that same thing. So like Alex says there in our YouTube chat, Unstable Game makes excellent games. If you have favorite board games that you want to shout them out, share them, encourage others to buy up that inventory while they can, give folks a reason and a means until we're able to figure out this situation. So to all of our listeners, as we close out, keep these folks in your thoughts and your prayers. Support them if you're able to. Support your favorite indie publishers in the coming months in whatever way you might be able to. They need it. Show patience with delays and price changes. Know that they are done reluctantly as acts of survival and not of greed. Take inspiration from this. When we're faced with a giant problem, we shouldn't lose heart. Instead, we should do good where we can, cause no harm where we can help it, and keep striving to grow even in the face of adversity. With creativity, community, and a bit of courage, even a small group of determined people can and will make a difference. I believe it. That is a gospel message. That is a resurrection Easter people message. And so thank you for tuning in to this deep dive. Stay safe out there. Play some games, maybe one that you picked up supporting a publisher. And as always, do good, be kind, keep geeking out, and we'll catch you next week on the main segment of The Week in Geek. Okay. Well, back over into the show, we'll take a completely, it's so funny because, these past couple of weeks, we've had a very heavy main segment and, or even not necessarily heavy, but just very serious and sometimes somber. And then we immediately go into the silliest game that we have. Yeah. So it is a real breath of fresh air, but it may be some cognitive dissonance for some of our people out there. So for those who may not be prepared, let's play everybody's favorite game. Cryptic Critique. That's right. It's time for everyone's favorite game, Cryptic Critiques. This is the game show of bad reviews for beloved games. I have scoured the internet to find 3 of the funniest bad reviews I could for popular games. I will deliver them one at a time to our special guest of the week, Sneaky. Play along with us, see if you can figure it out before we get to clue number 3. If you're watching live, do remember not to send your guesses until the guest gets to give their final choice at the end of the 3rd prompt. Sneaky, are you ready?
Not at all. I've forgotten about this.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is stressful. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Well, this one may be a deep cut too, so do your best. You got this. I believe in you. All right, our first clue here. A great game for people who don't know how to read. I sat and laughed at this one for a good chunk of time. Great game for people who don't know how to read.
Okay.
Anything?
No ideas. Let's keep going.
No clue off the first one. All right. Number 2. I absolutely adore the idea of playing this game, and I actually abhor the reality of playing this game.
Oh. Oh, man.
You got something forming?
Oh, possibly. Okay, give me number 3.
All right, last one here. Stop thinking about this is all caps, that's why I'm yelling. Stop thinking about your games as gimmick first. Games are systems, not party tricks. They have to work with concerted force. And I have a bonus
Okay, now
one.
this is a toughie. This is a tough one.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay. The bonus one that almost made the cut. This message was incredibly long, so I cut it down just a little bit so that you get the idea. Aggressively boring visuals meet aggressively generic RTX lighting, meet aggressively generic soundtrack, meet aggressively simple wait and see gameplay, meets gorgeous, charming, in-game instruction manual that outshines legitimately every other soulless aspect of this adventure.
Oh, is this Tunic?
It is indeed Tunic. I knew that would give it away. Chats in the clap. You did it. So now you understand why
the first clue is fantastic. Now that I know the game, that first clue is fantastic.
I'm telling you, it's like the top liked review under Tunic on Backlog, and I just had to sit there for a minute and just like tears down my face. All I could think of was the is it Simpsons, or which one is the one that's like, you better think, is it maybe King of the Hill? It's like, they can't read, you better be glad they can't read. Those kids can't read because he writes something.
It is King of the Hill, yes.
So stupid, but I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Great for kids that can't read. And of course, that's like the point, right? Is that they want to recreate that childlike experience of having no idea what the instruction manual says. But you're lucky those kids can't read. That's exactly what DB.
That's the quote, DB. That's it.
Oh, man. So good. Well, very good. Very, very impressive. I want to know if anybody else got that one before we got to that bonus prompt. I knew that was going to give it away. And I will say, I never finished Tunic. So I clearly agree with the bad reviewers of it. It never quite gripped me, but I do like the premise.
Yeah, I actually never finished it either. I think, speaking of Love Thy Nerd, I think Frost did a playthrough of it on Love Thy Nerd's stream. And I was like, yep, there, I played it. I'm good.
Now, Frost was
I did a Let's Play.
obsessed. He was obsessed with
it.
This,
he was.
This game and Celeste were like his two gripping experiences that he could not stop playing. So funny stuff. The indie games that gripped him along the way.
Yeah, right.
Love that game. Yeah, I feel like I need to go back and play it eventually because it is very beloved. And I wanted to like it, but I just couldn't. Wasn't the right time.
Yeah, same. It's like I wanted to enjoy that game. I really did. And watching Frost play it, I was like, I look like I would have fun with this. Mm-hmm. And no, it just didn't grab me.
Yep. Well, without further ado, let's get into our next segment, which will be That's right. It's time for some upcoming releases. We're going to take a look at three things each that myself and Sneaky are excited for coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. Can be games, can be movies, can be anything going on. So we'll get started with our first one from Sneaky here.
All right. I'm going to change this up just a little bit. So as I mentioned earlier, Andor Season 2 came out on Tuesday. Disney dropped the first 3 episodes. And so very excited. I love Andor for the simple reason that there's no Force, there's no Jedi, there's no lightsabers. It's just pure espionage. And for a Star Wars show, it is just a breath of fresh air. Like I understand that some people have the issues with the pacing. There are moments that, yes, it is kind of slow, but out of all the Star Wars shows, absolutely this one, man, I really enjoy it. And it's definitely going to, I think, hopefully, I'm curious to see how many episodes or how many seasons they're going to go with this. I don't know, but overall, I'm hoping they take it all the way up to when we get to Zando's favorite Star Wars movie, Rogue One. So I'm really hoping that they just take it right up to that moment. And that will be where the show ends. And that will be a really cool, okay, you can watch all the seasons of this show and jump right into Rogue One and get that full experience.
I love it. This is one that I still have never, I watched the first 4 episodes of Andor, and I need to eventually get into it and actually watch it. Maybe season 2 will be the thing that inspires me. Because it definitely is. I enjoyed Rogue One, unlike Zando, but I just never. I couldn't get into all the Star Wars shows. There were just too many of them.
There was a
But
lot, and a lot of them aren't fantastic, but this one,
sounds like
chef's
this is the
kiss.
one to watch. Yeah. My first pick is one that I've already dropped a little bit, but I can talk more about it. I have not actually started it, but it is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. And I have learned a lot about this game over the past couple of days. For those of you that know Prof Noctis, friend of the show, he had a early pass from Landfall Games and got to play it and talk about it. He has a good relationship with the Square Enix folks, which I don't know if they co-produced it or just related with him because he talks a lot about Final Fantasy. But gave a lengthy podcast, like an hour long, breakdown of this game, a quick review of, or not a quick review, a good chunky review of the experience of this game. And so for those of you that don't know, the concept is there's this mysterious enigmatic figure named the Paintress who shows up one day and she paints a number on this giant something. And whenever she paints that number, everyone who is that age or older dies. And so that is the new rule of the land. And so for 70 years or something, she started with 102 or 103 or something, and has been going down year by year to the point that now we are on Expedition 33. She's about to, or she has either just written the number 33 or is about to write it. And so everyone that is older than the year 33 or the year they turn 33 will die. And so this band of adventurers is going on an expedition to destroy the Paintress. It is a turn-based real-time RPG. So I don't know exactly what that's going to feel like. If it's going to feel like Kingdom Hearts-esque style battles, or that kind of, you have turn-based moves, but you're still moving around the world real time. But it is an intriguing thing that is doing really well, that I really want to play and just don't have the time to play. Desperately want to play this because I am a big fan of JRPGs. I'm a big fan, which it is not. It is a FRPG. It's a French RPG this time, and it is from a lot of the folks from Ubisoft. And so it's a bunch of ex-Ubisoft folks that are working on it.
Yeah, I've been watching people, a few streamers play this because I saw this was on your list, and so I didn't realize it was coming out so fast. And so I happened to catch somebody playing it on stream, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh wow!" So I immediately downloaded it yesterday.
It is on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass. So I immediately downloaded it, and it's definitely what I will play this weekend because, it gives me very. Without the real-time mechanics, but very much gives me like Final Fantasy vibes.
Oh, totally.
And but it looks, again, gorgeous look to it. There's a couple of different points of view that you can do out of it. The like dodging system, how it's very different from what I've seen from any other game and how they do it. So very, very curious about this one. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yes. And Wizen, it is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Not the best name. Not the best name, but it does make sense in the narrative. But just anytime they throw random words that don't make sense and then also numbers, it gets a bad review on my scale. But I do really want to play it, and I am very curious about it. So Game Pass game. I think it's like a 30-hour main line, so it's not another 100-hour game, but it is a 30-hour. And then I think side quests, somebody said, run another 30, so potentially a 60-hour game, which is still a whole lot shorter than most JRPG-like games. I'm excited. One of these days.
Yeah. And then another thing that comes out, I believe tomorrow, if I remember correctly, is Days Gone. So this is a game that came out in 2019, if I remember correctly. But it's kind of another kind of like zombie-esque style game, but you play as Deacon St. John, and we're part of a biker gang. And a pandemic happens, zombies ensue, but basically the whole game takes place in like Oregon. And so, being able to just ride a motorcycle through the forests of Oregon and do some cool stuff. I remember actually, I don't think I played this game all the way through. Apparently, I am really horrible about finishing games. And so, but as a remaster, I believe I actually still have my original disc for this too. I believe it's upstairs. But I was like, I think a remaster would get me back into playing this and checking it out again. Because I remember when I was playing it, I was having a lot of fun with it. But I think the thing that happens as being a nerd, like the shiny thing over here comes out and you're really excited about it, and then 2 weeks later the next shiny thing comes out that you're really excited about.
Yep.
And you forget about the previously shiny thing you were thinking of. So
yeah, I want to say this was one of Russ's games from Crossfire Faith and Gaming. I think he
he does
really
like
likes this game. And
Yep.
so I haven't heard if he's been excited about a remaster or not, but being the trophy hunter that he is, maybe he would want to get back into it and get the trophy
Wouldn't
for both the
surprise me.
remaster and the OG. But good enough, good enough. I am not a big Zambo fan myself, so I won't be pursuing this one, but I am excited that we're getting another remaster. I am tentatively excited about the Until Dawn movie coming out, I think, maybe tomorrow as well. And I loved Until Dawn. I was a big fan of the game. I do love horror games. I love just the tropes and the tropism that it laid on. I loved the casting. I, have always loved Hayden Panettiere. And so you throw in her into anything and I will absolutely watch it. And this is a reimagining, I think, of the game. I don't think it's trying to be a one-for-one anything, but trying to take an inspiration from it, which also intrigues me. So I liked the premise of the game, and I'm curious if they do that with this movie, if it is interesting in the way that it does the choice mechanics. Are we going to get some like choice vibes from it? I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. I think it's going to probably be a stinker, but it could be good. And the chance that it could be good gives me hope to at least want to probably watch the VOD. probably watch it whenever it comes out. I'm probably not going to go to the theater for that one, but yeah.
Gives good streaming vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Last thing, though, that will get me go to the movie theater is next week is the release of Marvel's Thunderbolts. I am beyond excited for this one. I've already got my tickets and very much looking forward to what they do with this. Great ensemble cast. And so there's really not much to say with this other than I'm very excited. I'm willing to bet that the post-credit scene will involve something with the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious if they're going to use that to kind of like pull everything together. So we'll see. I don't know. But I'm excited. Again, like you are, like you mentioned, Hayden Panettiere. Like I'm very much almost that way with Florence Pugh. Like give me almost any movie with Florence Pugh and I am probably there. I think she does a phenomenal job, and I think she's done a great job as Yelena and all the other movies and shows that she's been in with Marvel. So it's gonna be awesome.
For sure. And I am on board with this for the most part. I did not particularly enjoy Russell. What's his name? I can't remember his name anymore. But Jake, whatever. the Captain America wannabe, whatever his name is.
Oh, yes. And my brain also just decided to blank out.
Yeah, it's Kurt Russell's kid, but I can't remember his name.
Wyatt. Character's John Walker, but Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell. So I did not particularly love his portrayal in the Captain America TV show, or Falcon and Winter Soldier was the TV show. Mm-hmm. I didn't particularly love like his acting. I didn't think he did a great job. I didn't think he killed it. But I do agree that the David Harbour, Florence Pugh casting was fantastic. They always have done a good job whenever they've been on screen and together. It's a fun look, and longtime Checkpoint fans will know my thoughts on Bucky. So I'm downtrodden about two of the cast, but I am on board and I will definitely be seeing it. I love a good Marvel movie. I will always go and watch it, and this one just looks like a good old fun time. No doubt about that. All right, on to my last one here that I've already mentioned, but I will mention again, the 100-line Last Defense Academy. Tsukumo Sumino lived in an unremarkable life until he was forced to transfer to the Last Defense Academy. His mission, protect the school from mysterious enemies known as school invaders for 100 days. As Takumi delve into the enigmatic truth of the school, alongside 15 of his companions, each looking to reclaim their lost everyday lives. Explore the school, prepare for battles with your friends, and then engage with the invading creatures in strategic RPG battles. Very different for a 2KO game experience. It is not a court case. It is not a mystery solving, but it is very much in the art style and very much with the wacky, bizarre, profane characters that I just love so deeply. The mascot is no Monokuma, but he is fun nonetheless. And the mystery is already there. So for those of you that don't know, Uchikoshi, Zero Escape writer, is one of the finest mystery writers that we've ever had. He is so good at stringing along the mystery for the longest possible time, and then having the most baffling flow chart of choices at the end. And he's so good. He's a master at it. So I'm excited to get there. 100 days is what I got to get through to get to my next game. So I will be surviving 100 days at the Defense Academy over the course of the next couple days.
I'm looking at this on Steam, and this is definitely your game.
It's so me. It's so me. I'm so excited.
It's definitely you.
Like I'm gonna eat it up. And from what I've heard, again, this is a Jason Schreier thing because he's all I listen to with their podcast, Triple Click. He loves it, but he also loves strategy RPG games. So it's kind of his bread and butter. Humar Whittle, this might be the one. This might be the opportunity for Humar Whittle to get in on the weird Danganronpa world because it plays like a Fire Emblem, and it seems like a really interesting spin on Fire Emblem, and it's fun. It's a good time so far. But it's two of my favorite things. And I will be letting folks know over the course of the next couple of weeks how I feel about it and if it lives up to the hype or not. For me,
yeah, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be curious.
Almost certainly my bias will cloud my vision. This is a 5-star game, even if it absolutely stinks, because I liked World End Club, which for those who enjoyed or know of Tokyo Games, that was their very first launch title, and wasn't very good. But I gave it 5 stars because I'm blinded by my bias for this. I can't help myself. But yeah. That has been our upcoming games. Do let us know if you're excited for anything coming out in the near future. But without further ado, we're going to get into our final segment of the show, which is, of course, Game of the Week. Hang on, is Lizzie down there? I think Lizzie has left. No, Lizzie is there. Rats. Okay, Lizzie, don't look. T-Bone, don't look. It is me again this week, talking about perfectionism. That is the one that got the most likes this go round by What's Left Comics. It has a person there getting excited to start a new hobby, playing guitar, realizing you're not naturally gifted and will actually have to try, giving up, and then procrastinating. Big mood, big vibes. Totally accurate to how I live my life and feel about things. And so I felt like the Checkpoint folks would enjoy that.
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you. So the reason I really like that meme is because I relate to it. Because there's an acoustic guitar sitting behind me on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how long it's been there, but I refuse to get rid of it because someday I will pick that up again and I'm going to learn how to play it.
See, that's how I am with art stuff. And so I have I know how to play the guitar and I am a musician. But then whenever it's I have this art book, I have a sketchbook right here. I have 3 sketchbooks. I have these fancy colored pencils that I spent too much money on because I was like, if I get good colored pencils, that will inspire me to actually do it. No, it didn't. And so that is my gripe with art, is that I am the one that is why doesn't it look like somebody that's been practicing for 18 years? Because I haven't. So why would
right? Exactly.
The grief of being a gifted kid that never wants to try at anything because I was so good at reading. I was so good. And then now, no struggle. Alas, that has been the meme of the week. If you would like to be considered for our meme of the week next week, then go over to our Discord channel, !Discord in the chat to get into that. Go to our Memes and Goofs channel, post your memes throughout the next week, and by the time the next week's show rolls around, whatever meme gets the most one-ups, likes, reactions, whatever, will be the one that gets picked for meme of the week. So if you would like to be it, post your memes, see if it gets some traction. If it does, then look forward to being a part of the show. Cool. All right. With that, let's get into the close of our show with a quick shout out from Sneaky. Anything you want to shout out?
Well, not really. Other than our Discord, guys, I hype our Discord every time I'm on here, and I will tell you why. It's on my phone 24/7. It's up on my computer at work. Whenever I have a down moment, it is the first place I go to. It is, and I get really big sad when people aren't talking. And I keep scrolling through though. Nobody's talking today. But no, our community that we have built is just an amazing group of people, and throughout my day, it brings me the most amount of joy. Like, it is something that I seriously look forward to. Just when I have those brief moments to stop in and check in with people and see what people are talking about. And so, if you have not had a chance to check out our Discord, please do.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's hard to explain to people that haven't experienced it. But you know it when you're there and you feel like you're a part of something and you feel welcomed in the space. So absolutely ditto to all of that. Folks, thanks for sticking around for TWIG, being a part of the show with us. This has been TWIG, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news delivered live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch and youtube.com/checkpointchurch each and every week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, you probably enjoyed this one, so remember to give us a 5-star on your favorite podcasting app. Click that like button, recommend the show to all of your favorite nerds. Folks, we appreciate everybody that comments, that likes, that shares, that does any of those things, but we want to give an extra special shout out to those that have thrown some bones our ways. So for our Twitch subscribers and for our YouTube members, I want to give a quick little shout out over on Twitch. We've got Xando Calrissian, Wise and Lemur, Coyote42, Trini Kustrin P, Buish, Resident Catholic 2192, Mindful Marlena, Perspective, Trombone Dalek, Sneaky Big 633, maybe 30 bats, Joanna the Scribbler, Go Be Church. Over on YouTube, we have Leanne, and then both Twitch and YouTube, we have Twyla and Nerd Pastor Nate. Folks, is there going to be Twig next week? Yes, there should be Twig next week, as long as, hell or high water, that kind of thing. I think we should plan to have it next week. I don't know who our guest is as of yet, but I'm looking forward to always getting to hang out during this time, talk about nerdy news and all of those things. And the reason that we do all of that is because we believe these 3 things to be true about you. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, any of those things, we still believe them to be true about you. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here. That's what our Discord is all about, as Sneaky just shared. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see you, thanks to Sneaky Pig for being our guest. Thanks to you for joining us for the show. And until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.